Days is the official Kingdom Hearts soap opera, the one with the unpronounceable title,
358 Days, over 2.
The one where we play as Roxas, where we finally learn about that guy at the start of Kingdom Hearts 2. This is the game where we don't really worry about darkness versus light. Instead, we worry about waking up, wondering who we are, going to work, and eating ice cream with your friends after. All this while we slowly realize the people we work for never planned on letting us live. KH Days is the story of Roxas experiencing this soap opera I call Days of Our Hearts. So grab a snack, kick back, and let's recap the full summer vacation.
Looks like my summer vacation is over.
Before the emotional destruction and diving into the story, I want to talk about how the game actually plays. I'm going to be playing the Melon Mix version of the game, which is a fan-made restoration and enhancement project that rebuilt the game into a one-screen experience, and I'll link it in the description below. These guys are doing an awesome job and deserve a lot of respect for making this such an enjoyable experience. The way Kingdom Hearts Days plays is structured almost entirely around a mission-based schedule. Each day you're assigned a new mission, sent out to one of the worlds where you do your task and then get rewarded for finishing with XP or items. Combat and progression are handled through something different in Days, which is the panel system, and it's basically Tetris for your character build. Every block you place controls something important. Your stats, your abilities, the magic, your items, even your level ups. All how you arrange the panels depends how Roxas will play. You're constantly rearranging the loadout, and sometimes it might even take you longer than finishing the mission. You pretty much decide if you want to be strong, fast, or capable of casting almost unlimited magic. I personally leaned way too hard into a magic build, but either way, I was deleting Heartless like it was my full-time job, which come to find out, it kinda was. So the drama starts to begin on day 1, which is actually day 7, and we see Roxas waking up in a white room. No memories, no sense of identity, no idea why we're here. Going to talk to some members of this so-called Organization XIII, they welcome Roxas, but don't really enlighten him on anything. It gets even more confusing as Larxene throws insults for no apparent reason, and we hear a meeting is being called by our glorious leader. So with nothing better to do and no clue who we are, we go to the meeting, where Boss Man introduces a new member to this so-called Organization XIII, and it's number 14. I guess somebody better build a new chair. Well, more confused as ever, Roxas receives the order from Sayax. He says we're going to be going on missions for the organization every day. He sends us out with Axel to learn the ropes, and we set off for our tutorial session in Twilight Town. Learning the ropes with Axel doesn't take long at all, and after our mission, he takes us on an ice cream date to the first visit of the clock tower of mini cutscenes, something that sort of becomes tradition. The next day, we team up with Marluxia, and Marluxia explains that enemies defeated with the Keyblade will have their hearts captured and stored. He tells us that hearts we gather will form the almighty power known as Kingdom Hearts, and it's the organization's main goal to complete Kingdom Hearts. Roxas is special because he is the first one to be able to capture these hearts, since he has a Keyblade. So with some more Heartless defeated and Roxas feeling purposeful, we move on to day 10. And on day 10, we go out with Sexy Zexy and defeat more Heartless, basically establishing our daily routine, doing missions and collecting hearts along the way. After the mission, Roxas asks Zex, what's really the point of all this? What is Kingdom Hearts? Zexion finally explains that the members of the organization are actually nobodies, a being born into the world without a heart, and the only way to be a complete person and to get a heart is to complete Kingdom Hearts. So that puts us on day 11, where we're sent out to learn magic with Larxene. Super fitting because she's a real witch. Larxene teaches us how to shoot fire in between shooting us down with insults. On day 12, we team up with Vexen and learn the ins and outs of reconnaissance missions. Basically just consists of examining the town, while Vexen also insults our newborn intelligence. Day 13, we go out with Lexius and learn about limit breaks. He just reminds us the importance of relying on yourself in battle. And on to day 14, we finally go on our real mission, where we team up with Axel to collect hearts in Twilight Town. I immediately get hit with a difficulty spike due to my lack of skill, but not to worry. We come right back, take some swings, and I immediately get rolled again. The next time, I finally remembered my magic lessons with Larxene, and a few fireballs later, I finished the mission. On the way back to the castle, We see some familiar faces. It's Hayner, Pence, and Olette, and Axel convinces us to get some more cream with him after confessing his friendship for Roxas. We plan to meet up for ice cream after our next mission with our new friend and move on to day 15. Another day, another compliment from our best gal Larxene. And our mysterious new member 14, named Xion, joins us in the doctor's waiting room, saying just as much as Roxas did on his first day. We take on another mission, taking out some Watcher Heartless with Larxene, and once dispatched, we meet up for cream time with Bro again. A few days pass on by, and today we team up with Axel to defeat a Guardian in Twilight Town. Once found, we promptly hit him with fire out of respect for Axel. After this mission, our red-headed big bro says he's going to be leaving for a while and tells us he's going to be at Castle Oblivion, the main scene of the Chain of Memories game. On day 23, we see Syax gave Axel the orders to eliminate someone at Castle Oblivion suspected of betrayal. Now over to Roxas. By this point, I guess Roxas has done enough to gain the organization's trust because they team us up with the freshie Xion and put Roxas in charge and tasked us with taking out a poison plant. For this mission, we need a bunch of fire magic, and once equipped, the duo heads down into the tunnels. We take care of the boss in no time with a liberal application of the fire spell, and it's a mission complete. On day 24, we beat up some more Heartless with Xion, and afterwards Xion starts to remember things and speaks her first words at last. Of all things, she says Roxas' name?
Say my name.
On to day 25, we are sent out to our first real boss fight, and a staple of beginning boss fights in the Kingdom Hearts series, Darkside. The first fight is simple as always, pretty much mash attack into his hands like usual, and wait for the health bar to run out. To our surprise, Xion can actually use the Keyblade. She one-taps the Darkside with it, and to celebrate, we buy her a sea salt ice cream and bring her up to the clock tower of mini cutscenes to show her our usual spot. Day 26 starts out with Roxas hearing some news that at least one person at Castle Oblivion was terminated. Roxas, worried for his new pal Axel, has his concerns hushed. He's whisked out to Agrabah for the first time with Xigbar. And you gotta point out how peak the Organization XIII design is for the Moogle. I mean, look at this guy. Finally, going off-world though has us doing recon at Agrabah. It's pretty short-lived, and Xigbar then tells us when nobodies are destroyed, they are gone for good, worrying Roxas about Axel. Before we can return to the castle, Roxas collapses. He drifts into another deep sleep coma as we see the following day. Over 20 days pass, and on day 49 we see that Xion has been visiting and leaving Roxas seashells. How thoughtful. On day 50, Roxas finally wakes back up. With no one around in the castle, he heads to his usual spot to think things over. Xion shows up and gives Roxas another seashell. Look how cute they are. Day 51 rolls around, and Syax spills that multiple people at Castle Oblivion have now been taken out, worrying Roxas even further that he's lost his good friend Axie. And without the other members, we will be taking on more solo missions. Shortly after Demyx confirms no one survived at Castle Oblivion. This news sends Roxas on his sad boy emo arc, and if nobodies are supposed to be feelingless, he sure is torn up over losing his friend right now. But we carry on doing missions for a few weeks up until day 71, where the task is popping dark pimples in Twilight Town. Afterward, we make our way back when all of a sudden, there he is, our boy Axel. He somehow survived, and Roxas is so happy he runs for some ice cream immediately. On day 72, we team back up with Axel and Agrabah, stalk Pete on some bogus reconnaissance missions that took forever. I mean, look at this. After that, Big Bro takes us out for more cream and another grooming session. On to day 73, Xion hasn't been seen in at least 10 days. Roxas is worried, and Axel promises he will ask around about her, while we get sent to Beast Castle for the first time. Not too much happens here. You just hit these statues into place, find the secret entrance, fight a Sergeant Heartless, unlock the front door for an easier home invasion next time around. And back to the mini cutscenes clock tower, Axel skips out on our daily ice cream meeting. On to day 76, we find out why. Axel let us know he found out Xion was sent on a mission days ago, but she never returned to the castle. Roxas and Axel are sent to find her in Twilight Town. We interrogate the local children for answers, but this little brat flips it and makes me answer the questions first. One trivia test later, and we have a lead for Xion. We head to the old mansion, find her target, the Veil Lizard. Midway through the fight, Xion for some reason decides to just sprint at the thing, even though she couldn't beat it for 10 days, only to get tongue punched back to the sleep realm. We beat on the lizard some more until he's finished, check on Xion, and go get some ice cream together at the clock tower. Now, up here, something is interesting. From Roxas' view, Xion seems to have her hood down, but when Axel talks from his perspective, she always has her hood up. Now remember that. Xion tells us the reason she was gone for so long is that she lost the ability to summon the Keyblade, and without it, she can't finish her work, afraid of what the organization will do to her if she can't collect hearts. To protect Xion, Axel tells Roxas he can just work with her and do double the duty to cover for her. Double the labor, double the fun. We agree, and we roll into day 75. For the plan to work, we have to convince Cyax to let Xion come on missions with us, and being short-handed after Castle Oblivion, he is reluctant to do so. With a little help from Axel though, we manage to convince him and go to Agrabah with Xion to check out the Cave of Wonders. We saw Pete here earlier in the game, and Pete actually stumbles upon us, reveals he's after Jafar's lamp, so we beat him down like usual, and he runs out with his tail between his legs. Escaping the cave, we run into Genie and Magic Carpet, who think Roxas looks pretty familiar. More after-work creaming for the trio, we discuss what it's like to have best friends, but these nobodies just don't know. On day 79, Roxas and Xion go back to investigate Beast Castle further, beating some new Heartless and getting a sight of the beast for the first time. With that wrapped up, they report back to the castle with what they have found. These events lead us to day 94. Today we finally get another glimpse of Xemnas and what he's been up to. He shows us high in the sky that Kingdom Hearts is forming, and it's a moon shaped like a heart or something, but it's a force, he says. But Roxas actually asks Axel the question, what everyone's been wondering since the series began.
But what is Kingdom Hearts?
Day 96, Cyax tells Roxas and Xion this will be their last day working together, but Axel buys them time for one more day. Worried what will happen when Xion is alone, Roxas lets her use his Keyblade to see if it would trigger some kind of response. Well, she can't summon a Keyblade, but she can still control mine at least. In the meantime, Roxas pulls out this durable bad boy. Xion mows through Heartless, while I contribute nothing. At the end, we take down the boss dog with some OP stick magic, and somehow that's all Xion needed to be able to summon the Keyblade again. After the mission, a quick pit stop to flex on Axel at the clock, then on to day 97. Roxas is back working solo, sent to take out this bastard Heartless in Agrabah. We take on this Antillian boss, who isn't really that tough, but you have to watch out for his tornado attack. It hits even when you think you are far enough away, and the depth perception is kinda hard to judge. You just hit it with these temple pieces back at him whenever he drops them, wait for him to fall, then slash away until you win the fight. From here, we assume everyone's happy and healthy as we roll into day 117. On this day, Cyax probes Axel for information about Xion, tells him he must go back to Castle Oblivion soon to find the Chamber of Waking. Axel drops the news that he is the one who took out the people at Castle Oblivion for Cyax. So, on to Roxas. We go to the Colosseum for the first time for some recon with Xigbar again. We dispatch some Heartless, run into Phil, who of course throws us into training immediately. A couple smashed barrels later, we return to the castle. In the meantime, Axel and Xion are having some cream and talking about some old memories. Someone called the labor board because after 118 days, we finally get a day off work. Not knowing what to do and our friends busy, Roxas heads to Twilight Town in search of some ice cream. When we arrive, we run into Pence, Hayner, and Olette again, and Hayner challenges us to a game of Grandstander, where you keep the ball in the air for as long as possible. After that, we get our sweet treat, and the rest of the trio shows up as well. Literally in the next scene, Cyax tells Axel he's getting too attached to us. Day 119 saw Roxas investigating Beast Castle again with Zaldin. On day 120, Roxas had to collect hearts at the Colosseum in Olympus. We ran into a fat body covered in armor this time around, but they still fall over for easy hits once you do enough damage. A few barrels thrown into some other Heartless, and we have another mission complete. More days pass as we come up on day 149. Today we're sent to Halloween Town for the first time to collect more hearts. Jack's walking around trying to plan Halloween. No issue here besides these stupid searchlight ghosts. They teleport right behind you, making you bend over like a Diddy Party VIP. Lock, Shock, and Barrel, of course, being pricks like usual. And at the end of the day, Axel meets us for some ice cream again. Wonders where Xion's at. She usually shows up by now. Checking in on Xion, we see she's disturbed by something, and it looks like she was recently defeated in battle at Beast Castle. On to day 150, we see she lost to Riku. Riku's the imposter? The day starts out with Sayax basically telling Xion she's a waste of space. They never should have bothered with her, so she runs away in disgust. Roxas, confused by these emotions of women, carries on to his mission of taking out Giant Heartless at Beast Castle with Zaldin. We find a giant Shadow Heartless in the ballroom, dispose of it, but in the West Wing, we find our real target. And how's this guy even fit inside this place? No way he came through the front door. He's mostly the same as Darkseid with this extra ground combo, and this fight was kinda AIDS until I figured out I should be blocking back the balls of light. Eventually, we wear him out with Reflex and end the day at the clock tower with Axel, wondering where Xion's at and what's wrong with her after she ran away earlier in the day. Day 151 sees Roxas going back to Twilight Town to take out an extra powerful Heartless. On the way, we finally see Xion at the clock tower. She apologizes for running off the other day, and Roxas suggests they do their missions in town together. We take on an avalanche, use a few fireballs, collect some emblems, and finish up our missions. We get some ice cream and wait for Axel, while Xion slips into a PTSD episode over her fight with Riku, and I guess I would too if I got played like this. Xion doesn't really take this loss and Riku's words well, and she gets up to leave. Right on cue, Axel shows up to end the day with us. On to day 152, we see Halloween Town again, get hit with some more pumpkin grenades from Lock, Shock, and Barrel, collect a few hearts, meet up with Axel to discuss the complex emotions of women, and with no sign of Xion, we move on to day 153. Now we're collecting more hearts at the Coliseum, this time with Demix, who weasels his way out of any obligation, but anyway, we go inside, bang some more barrels on top of Heartless until the job's finished, and the day concludes with a lonely ice cream trip, no Xion, and not even Axel this time. Friend group in tatters, we move on to day 154, and the following mission has me going to Wonderland for the first time. All the same tricks here, of course: talk to the sleepy door, drink the bottle of magic shrinking potion, collect some more hearts, fight a transforming chair lizard with some combos and fire, and then hit the clock tower for some ice cream. And Axel shows up today, but still no signs of Xion, since we ran into her at Twilight Town. Axel says they've been keeping him and her busy lately. Damn, working always ruining ice cream time with the gang. On day 155, still no sign of Xion, but we're sent back to Beast Castle to take out an unknown Heartless. We drop in and hear Beast roaring out. Following the sound outside, we see Beast getting catapulted over the top of the bridge and wonder what big-ass monster just threw him 200 yards high and long. Through the gates, we get our first peek at the big bastard, known as the Infernal Engine. On first try, I wasn't really equipped with the best gear. I tried to flame him to death, since I'd been abusing that all game so far, but it didn't seem to work, and my combos were too short to do any meaningful damage. A failed attempt and one respec later, we're giving it another go with an air combo Keyblade. As long as you stay out of the range of his attacks and don't overextend combos, it's not too bad of a fight. The worst part is the snipers on top shooting honing weapons at you, so you have to keep dodging, but you still might get hit out of your attack. I couldn't time the block on their arrows, so I kind of developed this way of hitting the boss sideways in the air to stay moving while attacking, and this all made him pretty easy work after a few minutes of the same old. On his way back, Roxas contemplates the power of love and its source. Now, I haven't been playing every single optional mission, so we roll on to day 172. Roxas finally finds out some information on Xion from Luxord. Apparently she's been in a deep sleep since failing her last mission. Sayax tries to stop Roxas from going to see her, but he goes anyway and pays her the same respect as she did earlier, placing a seashell down by her bed. After all that, the mission of the day is with Luxord in Wonderland, and he's like the best companion of them all. He stun locks enemies hard with his card deck. We had to beat 5 of these pink concertos, which can be found in the surrounding flowers, and he made it super easy. After that, we're at the mini-scenes clock tower again, and Roxas and Axel talk about Xion, and why Sayax hates her so much, especially if she's supposed to be special. Axel makes fun of Roxas for having feelings, of course, but says he'll ask Cyax. Cyax, of course, says Xion isn't fit to be in the organization at all, and keeps calling her a thing. We see the day end with another seashell added to Xion's bed by Roxas. The next day, Axel doesn't let Roxas in on what Cyax said to spare his feelings, and the mission of the day sees us collecting more hearts in Halloween Town and exploring more of the map. Finally, we had enough of Lock, Shock, and Barrel's explosives, and this was super satisfying to finally give these kids a beating they deserved. In the end, it's clear they didn't learn their lesson, so we stopped playing Dad and finish up the mission before returning to the clock tower with Axel for some more cream time. Day 174 sends us to a new version of Neverland for the first time. Basically, the deal with this world, someone's been planting fake treasure that has Heartless inside it. Captain Hook has been tricked by Pete with a bunch of fake treasure maps to go around and dig all them up. I didn't know it at the time, but this world would become my least favorite world to visit by far. After Smee and Hook clear out, we defeat the Heartless and then run into Tinkerbell, who helps us fly. She clearly needs our help with something, but live, laugh, love Organization XIII life, so we must focus on our collection mission before heading back home. Days roll by. We make it to day 193. We have the vision of Kyrie's heart returning to her body. Coincidentally, perhaps, immediately after this, Xion flashes awake. Roxas by her side, startled, she finally comes to. He tells her she's been asleep for around 20 days. Roxas tells her how much they were worried, and our girl not wanting to miss any more time, Xion asks to tag along on our mission. We try to head out, only to be stopped by Cyax, and his pure hatred for Xion. He tries to keep us down, but Axel steps in, and we get to head out on our first full Clocktown Sea Salt Gang mission. The trio teams up to take on 2 extra-large Heartless in Twilight Town. We take on a Heat Saber in the Sandlot with relatively no issue, and then move on to find the other Heartless. While looking, Xion faints, and we see images of Sora and Kyrie. With perfect timing, the Heartless show up, and Roxas is left to deal with it. Axel keeps Xion safe, and I do my job. Taking him out eventually, and checking on Xion, she says the name Sora. What could that mean? We take her back to the castle, and things are starting to boil over with Cyax, as he keeps running his mouth. Axel tells him to watch it, and then Cyax whines about how Axel's changed since Castle Oblivion. Well, maybe don't send a man on a kill mission then. Roxas asks Axel if he really cares about Xion, and he says, of course, we're best friends, dude. We meet up for ice cream every day. I think us nobodies can finally call each other friends and shit, you dig? Xion feels better and tells Axel he's a big sweetie. Alright, after that heavy lore day, we move on to day 194, and day 194 has us back in Wonderland taking out commanders with the big gambling man Luxord, and hunting down some commanders or sergeants or oversized soldiers, all the same thing, honestly. After that, we head back and see Axel reading something called The Truth About Naminé. What is going on? While at the clock tower, Xion and Roxas wonder if Axel will show up. Rolling into day 195, we're out in Neverland with Axel again, showing him how we learned to fly out here. The fun is very short-lived, with Captain Hook and Smee firing non-stop cannonballs at us, and this is where I discovered I absolutely despise this map. This is by far the worst map and mission, I think. The map is the first that really makes you feel the limitations of the DS, because it's so bland and empty, just plain gray textures and water. You can't even go into the captain's boat until one later mission. Also, these invisible freaking cannonballs come out of nowhere, and you have to just blindly dig up treasure on all these rock formations in order to spawn the Heartless you need to complete the mission. There's like no way to see these cannonballs coming in and destroying you while you try to fly around and do terrible aerial attacks. My advice when you come to Neverland, bring about 30 fire spells and never look back. That's going to carry you through just about every single mission in this godforsaken world. But once we get that, we freaking RTC, aka Return to the Cream, and meet up with Xion as well. Day 196, I take a vacation and skip some side missions, and we finally move on to the 200s, with Day 224. And we're dropped in, seeing Christopher Lee tell us that this Naminé person is a witch that has control over Sora's memories and others connected to him. The mission of the day is another trip to Olympus with Dimix though, and this time we get to play in the games. Collecting Heartless is the goal, and the beginning rounds are simple enough. You just gotta defeat all the enemies by any means necessary, barrels, magic, and keyblade style. After getting through all the opponents though, the one in the final we face is none other than our own Xigbar. Now, I couldn't get in on him to attack, and if you do, he just runs away. So a fireball to his chest will just end this fight quickly, because he storms off once he's at half health. Then, the real enemy shows up. Roxas, momentarily overcome with some of Sora's memories, kinda recognizes the familiar looking enemy. The fight starts out and we flash between Sora and Roxas, the familiarity of the fight almost bending reality for Roxas, or is it just a flashback sequence? The urge to fight him the exact same as Kingdom Hearts 1 was so strong, and I took a massive L the first time around. And dude, guard armor absolutely cooked me for a few tries straight. I finally get him down to what I thought was one hit after 10 minutes, only to realize I have to break every single body part. I destroy one foot, and the other foot responds with almost full HP, dude. Excuse me? So, with no heals and no brain cells left, I go down, lose time I'm never getting back, swap my Keyblade, swap my strategy, and finally put guard armor in the dirt. We grab some ice cream with the gang and act like nothing happened. Xion asks Axel about Castle Oblivion. Ready to leave, Xion faints off the guard tower and Roxas saves her. Day 225's mission is taking out the carrier ghost in Halloween Town. With more fire spam and some air combos, we take him out and start to head back. Before returning, a new enemy pops out of the ground. Clean them up real quick before we actually return. Our daily rendezvous wasn't quite the same. Xion left early, and Roxas asked Axel if she was being kinda weird lately. I guess this makes sense, because later on we see her hacking into a computer for some information, most likely about Castle Oblivion. And all these events lead us into day 255, the longest day. On the longest day, we start off in the room of uneven chairs. Saïx tells Xemnas Axel has gone to Castle Oblivion to clear it out. He also tells him that someone had used unauthorized access to the computer. Wonder who that could be. Xemnas says no worries, that these three will play their part in Kingdom Hearts. Very ominous. Now we see Xion, making her way inside Castle Oblivion, only to be immediately overcome with memories of her beginning in Castle Oblivion. We see Saïx walking Xion out of the castle in a flashback, and when we come to, we see Axel standing in front of us. Axel tries to get Xion to go back home, not to get destroyed for abandoning her mission. Xion begs for Axel's help. She's been having memories of the past, and she wants to know who she really is. Desperate for the truth, she runs deep into Castle Oblivion. Our mission on the longest day sees us back in Wonderland, sneaking through a maze to activate some switches. Once all activated, we go back into the bazaar room and take on the Neo Shadow. He's got a long-reaching attack and can hit you on top of the table, so you know we had to go with that tried and true strat of spamming fire magic at him till he disappears forever. Another heart for the kingdom. After the mission, we're back at the clock tower with Axel, reminiscing on how far we've come over 255 days, from being a walking zombie with no memories to having real, true friends. In the end, Roxas wonders where Xion is, but Axel keeps what he knows to himself and tells Roxas that Xion went on a very important mission. At the same time though, we see Xion finds out a lot more about herself than she ever really knew. After all the lore, we're rolling over to day 256 finally. Xemnas tells us Xion is gone, and the best reaction goes to Demyx. Xemnas forbids anyone from going to find her, without his permission, much to Roxas' dismay. Saïx hits us with a final, obey or this will be your end, mwahaha, evil villain-ass boy. The mission we're sent on is to restore the Heartless to Halloween Town. They've all mysteriously disappeared, and we have to go check out why. We see the tentacles that popped up before are now actually eating the Heartless, and these things are so ass to hit. Funky hitbox, you have to just spam a bunch of fire again, or hit the pumpkins next to them and let them explode nearby. Searching for the source of the tentacles takes us to the graveyard, where we dispatch some more with fire, use a few air combos, and keep my spells around for the source of the problem. Dude, and hello, it's the worst fight in the entire game. Leechgrave. This boss is so time-consuming and annoying. You have to play so safe because its coffin attack does massive damage, and you also have to watch out for its purple laser ball things. Or you could try to limit it to death with multiple lifesaver abilities, but good luck. You pretty much have to go around and destroy each tentacle, and once that's done, the boss will be stunned and open for a few combos. The problem is though, these tentacles take so long to kill, you're probably going to run out of fire spells or patience. If you get too close, they'll swallow you and spit you out on top of the boss. The game has no problem putting your patience to the test if you don't have the right build. So, after many deaths, and I mean many deaths, I finally caved to go back and retool my loadout. I brought like 30 fire spells, a combo ring, and 3 or 4 elixirs, and that made it a breeze after a few terrible attempts. This was the first boss where I honestly thought I might not be able to finish this game, but after a few changes and a recharge of patience, I focused the tentacles solely until he went down, and I was able to get 4 combos off usually, and by the end of it, I still even had most of my items, minus a few of those elixirs to fully recharge my spells. But after the mission, we get to RTC and get hit with another grenade for our hard work. Freaking unparented kids. At the end of the day, we're all alone at the clock tower, wondering where Axel is. And he's actually around the corner, not able to face Roxas, I guess, for keeping secrets about Xion. Skipping a few side missions again, we pick up in day 276. Today's mission, Roxas goes to the beach, or he thinks he does anyway. Some weird memory stuff is going on, and he actually collapses. We have a vision or something of Riku finds Xion as she wonders, what am I here for? Immediately we see a flashback of Riku talking to that witch Namine, and she explains some of the Sora's memories are missing. They are escaping through a nobody, a third person, into Xion. The only solution to get Sora to wake back up is to make these nobodies disappear. Now remember earlier when some people saw Xion and she had her hood up, and we saw her from Roxas' perspective, she had her hood down? Well, when people look at her, they don't actually see Xion. They see a blank form shaped by Sora's memories. Roxas sees her as Xion because Sora's memories of Kairi are imprinting themselves onto her unfinished identity. It's proof that she really is absorbing Sora's memories, and those memories are slowly overriding who she's supposed to be. Now, by the end of the day, Roxas even imagines the trio together on Destiny Islands. But when the scene fades, we're back at the clock tower, where he finally meets up with Axel again. Roxas admits he thought he found Xion during his mission, but it all felt like a dream, like he isn't even sure it happened. Seeing how confused and shaken up Roxas is, Axel suggests they use their free time from now to search for Xion together after work. This brings things to day 277, searching. Our mission takes us to Wonderland again, and this time the goal is to take down some giant Heartless, another familiar foe from Kingdom Hearts 1 in the Juggler. This time he actually splits into 2 forms. You'll have to deal with them at the same time. I just kind of spam jump combos in between the attacks. This fight isn't so hard, but the gimmick is you have to take them out at the same time, or within a few seconds, they're going to respawn with more health. After I learned that, I made sure to keep one at low health before taking care of the other. We got another mission complete, and the day ends with Roxas looking for Xion. Can't find her, and the days just roll on. Many days pass by, and we're now on day 296. Still no sign of Xion. Roxas heads back to the Colosseum, fighting through more rounds in the games to collect more hearts, eventually taking down the Stellar Blade in the final match. Afterward, it's back to the clock tower for more ice cream. Up there, Roxas starts thinking the only place they haven't really checked is Castle Oblivion. Axel did say Xion had an important mission after all, and when Roxas brings it up, Axel actually admits that Xion is originally from Castle Oblivion. So, I mean, maybe Roxas isn't as clueless as everyone assumes. The 297th day has Cyax telling us the imposter is at Castle Oblivion. We use this chance to volunteer to go. Axel by our side, we head off to Castle Oblivion in search of the imposter and Xion. Immediately Roxas becomes overcome with some type of force. He collapses, and Axel gets us away to Twilight Town. We hear Riku's voice in our head and shoot awake. After Axel fills us in on what happened, we see Xion in the background with another hooded figure. She sinks her head and disappears. We give chase to the imposter through the tunnels, only for them to lose us at the end. A couple seconds later, we see it really was Xion, and the imposter, of course, is Riku. He asks if she wants to go back, but she seems torn and confused, leaving Roxas and Axel wondering why she would run away from them. Day 298, the next day, we overhear Axel getting orders from Cyax, and he seems displeased, turning and walking away from Roxas without even speaking a word to him. Even in the common room after, his character says nothing. Cyax tells Roxas that Xion has betrayed the organization. He orders Roxas to destroy the imposter, and for Axel to capture Xion by any means necessary, much to Roxas' dismay. Axel assures us he'll think of something else when he finds her. On the mission, we spot the imposter / Xion, and we follow them through the city, only to discover it's Xion we've been chasing. Roxas explains we've been looking for her, but she pushes back and pulls the Keyblade on us when we come in close to try to stop her from running away. Utterly shocked, then all of a sudden, Axel comes in crashing in to have a fight with her. He knocks her out and takes her away. We chase after him to the castle, where he acts like nothing happened at all. He does say she's safe, and we move on to day 299. Here, we see Axel talking with Xion about having to save one, and asking, who would you rather suffer the loss of more, a real friendship or a make-believe one? Ominous enough, he then calls Axel Lee before walking out of the room. With no one still having seen Xion, and no one else to ask, Roxas decides to go see Xemnas and ask him what's really going on with everything. He suddenly remembers hearing the word Sora spoken to him by Xemnas. Asking who Sora is, Xemnas explains that Sora is the connection between Xion and Roxas, and the reason she was brought into the organization. He tells him to focus on his duties for the day, and that she will return tomorrow after resting. On the way back to our mission, Axel tries to say an awkward hello. We blow right by him and go to Neverland to pop some more dark matter pimples. Alright, after the mission, we get some important lore. Xemnas and Xion lay out more of their plan for Roxas and Xion. They needed the Keyblade to harvest hearts, and they hoped that Roxas' exposure to Xion would transfer that power, which it did. But Sora's memories ended up shaping Xion's empty replica form into something resembling Kyrie, and that shaping happened through Roxas, because Roxas is Sora's nobody. Now, their new strategy is to keep Roxas and Xion together, so Sora's memories stay scattered and he can't get them back, preventing him from waking up. The memories need to be separated and stabilized before Sora can wake up and become whole again, and that's why the nobodies have to be taken out. Finally, into the 300s, with day 300, we get to fight the Phantom Tail in Neverland. And if I mentioned at this point I really hate Neverland, I thought it might get interesting after the first visit, but I couldn't have been more wrong. About 20 fireballs later though, the Phantom Tail's finally down, and we see Pete poking around some more. After that, Axel and Xion join Roxas at the clock tower for the first time in quite a while. Before the day ends, we see that Sora's memories have stopped being brought back together since Roxas and Xion are together again, and Christopher Lee says the gloves must come off. No more Mr. Nice Guy. The next day, we're back at Neverland again, taking on the infamous Ruler of the Sky. But I came stocked with 35 fire spells and some elixirs, and like literally 60 spells later, he was down without too much of an issue. This fight can be really annoying, but I never really had him run away from me or anything, and it wasn't too bad compared to Leechgrave, ending the day with now a lonely trip at the clock tower. We go from here on to day 321, where Roxas has been having weird dreams. He's been feeling really confused lately. We go to Agrabah with Xion and are feeling weaker by the minute. Xion absolutely wrecks the boss in one hit like prime Mike Tyson, while Roxas can't do any damage. Roxas explains using the Keyblade wipes him out these days. It's clear that Xion's kind of taking his power. Xion goes to ask Axel why this is, why she fights like Roxas now, and we get hit with some heavy stuff. Axel says Xion was a puppet designed to copy Roxas' powers. If he's getting weaker and she's getting stronger, then she must be copying the powers more than she normally should be, essentially stealing his ability, or his life force, or whatever you want to call it. I guess we know why Zigbar called her Poppet now. And hey, look who's eavesdropping. The next day, we find out Xion wasn't supposed to gain a mind of her own, but she was such an extraordinary vessel that she fought to be her own person. The full Xemnas plan finally comes to light as he reveals Xion is destined to steal all of Roxas' powers until he is destroyed, or Roxas will destroy her first to get all of his power back. Then the organization will have a full control of a copy of Sora and his complete power. Alright? Got it memorized? This rolls us into day 352, where we have more lore dump. Sora can't wake up without Xion's memories, that are actually Sora's memories stuck inside Xion, transferred through Roxas. Got it memorized? Riku gives some fatherly advice, and Xion wakes up ignoring Roxas some more the next day. The mission of the day has us sent to Halloween Town to fight an urgent Heartless by Syax. Roxas is too worn down mid-fight and decides he must go for a finishing blow. About to strike, he's gonna give it everything he's got when he's interrupted by Axel? And it's Xion he was fighting the whole time? No wonder the enemy was so powerful. The organization had some type of illusion, and Axel tells them the mission was a setup, rigged so we'd battle one another for Xemnas' plan, destroying one to create an all-powerful copy of Sora for the organization. We debrief back at the clock tower, gang reunited once more, where they tug on the heartstrings and wish they could all escape together. 353, we start off with seeing Syax telling Axel we only need one of them, stop interfering. In the lobby, we see Xigbar, Xion, and Axel are teaming up for the day, but apparently not for long. As something going on with Xion, Xigbar sees her face in a different form. Xion, transforming into someone else, starts glitching out, takes out Xigbar, and Axel sees something that really shocks him. He lets her, or it, or whateverly formerly known as Xion, gets away. Meanwhile, Roxas is sent to Twilight Town to take out 5 big Heartless. We take out the guard armor again, another sneak lizard, Demon Man, backyard marijuana plant, and a giant Heartless. Back at the HQ, the gang lets Roxas know what happened to Xion, and Axel does his best to explain that she's a puppet stealing his power. If she isn't destroyed, then he won't be him anymore either. On Xion's side, we see Riku tell Xion to go to Twilight Town and find someone named Naminé. With things getting mighty complicated, we move on to day 354. On this day, Xemnas tells us Xion has run off again, and gives Axel the order to bring Xion to the organization. After Roxas confronts Axel about how much he's known about Xion, or how long has he known she's a puppet, he refuses to elaborate, and portals off. We go to our mission to place the device in Agrabah, whatever it is. Looks cool though. And by this point, Roxas is questioning anything and everything. He wonders if he even should return to the castle again. What's the point in this life of missions for the organization that doesn't even care about him? While Roxas contemplates the future, we get a Riku and Mickey lore dump. Riku tells Mickey he's going to have to battle Sora's nobody soon to free Sora's memories. And if he does not survive, then Mickey must watch after Sora, Donald, and Goofy while they sleep after the events of Chain of Memories. On day 355, Roxas can't take much more. He has to confront Axel about the replica program, worried if he is the same thing as Xion. Is that why he can't remember who he is? Roxas confronts Axel about all the unknown questions he has about himself. Axel tells Roxas, "You just have to trust me." But after so many deceptions, Roxas can't, and he decides to finally leave the organization at last. Finally deciding to leave the castle, Roxas makes his way out to the gates, where we see Syax, who tries to stop us from leaving. Not without a fight, this one's going to be a bit of a challenge. If you didn't bring 30 magic spells, oh yeah. We get out of the castle, and one more tearjerker interaction with Axel, who says he'll miss us. Now, we go into day 356. We see Xion has now found Naminé. Naminé tells Xion she is Kairi as Sora remembers, and Xion says she feels the need to return to Sora. Christopher Lee interrupts to tell us Xion has been followed. Xion goes outside to confront the follower, and we see it's Axel, telling him she needs to go back where she belongs. Axel returns with Xion to the castle, but immediately collapses, and we see Xemnas take Xion away. After escaping the castle and without a clue what to do, Roxas goes back to the clock tower alone. Sitting at the top, feeling lousy, when a familiar entity shows up next to us with some ice cream. But the real shocker is it's actually Sora with some boobs, because Xion as the puppet is almost complete. The memories are almost transferred. With no more time left, we must destroy the puppet, formerly known as Xion, our best friend, our main girl, or she's gonna destroy us. Now, this fight's pretty cool. It takes us back to different worlds for different phases of the fight. First State and Wonderland. Now this fight's gonna challenge you and everything you've learned about the game so far. Next phase, though, moves us to Halloween Town, and it's easily the most annoying thanks to a Ragnarok spam. This part got me more than a few times, until I equipped Glide, which made dodging and getting hits in about 100 times easier. The worst moment is when she gets low, she's going to jump into the air and start a healing orb. If you're not fast enough, it restores like half her health, and she's completely invincible while it's going on. I eventually pushed through though with some combos and had Kiraga ticking on in the background. Next, the fight shifts to Agrabah, where she goes full General Grievous. I just unloaded limits and honestly got kinda lucky with the spam and eventually hit her until she was defeated. The final phase though, the most epic of them, brings us back to Twilight Town. Xion unleashes everything she's stolen from us, showing how powerful she's become, going like a supersized Power Ranger enemy. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. Xion is defeated, and memories of her instantly start to fade. But Roxas wonders who the hell he's gonna have ice cream with. With Xion defeated, and Roxas leaving the organization, Day 358 is finally here, and a familiar scene starts to unfold from past games. Here, Roxas and Riku will finally meet, the battle for Sora's memories. And this fight is so awesome. Roxas, fully powered up after defeating Xion, finally shows off a huge range of moves. And once you beat Riku, he realizes he has no other choice but to unleash the darkness in his heart to stop Roxas and recover Sora's memories. In that moment, he taps into the Ansem power hidden in his heart, finding out why he looks the way he does in Kingdom Hearts 2. Roxas, now defeated by Riku and the power of darkness, is taken into a digital world so Sora's memories can be restored safely away from Organization XIII's interference. All of this leads directly into Day 359, a very familiar feeling if you've played Kingdom Hearts 2. In other words, we've arrived at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, and what a journey it's been, our summer vacation soon to finally end.